Let's bring into the conversation once again Peter Zalmayev, Director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative in Kyiv. Peter, thanks so much for joining us. And let's start with Tomahawk missiles, because this is very much the focus of these talks. Both Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have said that this would be an escalation of note. Does Ukraine see it that way, or is it just the absolute perfect weapon to help them with the war effort?
Well, indeed, I don't think it's hard to. It would take too much to dispute that it is in fact an escalation. It is an escalation, and Vladimir Putin is sending all signals that he's actually concerned, despite protestations that they will make a difference in the battlefield, which they may or may not. Frankly, they are concerned that this will enable Ukraine to wage an even more effective asymmetrical warfare against Russia, further diminishing its capacity to produce and refine oil for domestic consumption. It's creating a lot of bottlenecks and very unpleasant situations economically for Vladimir Putin. But yes, having said that, it may not matter much when it comes to the situation on the front lines around Pokrovsk, etc., where Russia is continuing to go on the offensive, albeit my analysis remains the same. Russia is doing it at a huge cost to its treasury, and when it comes to its manpower, up to 1,000 soldiers per day. The question is how much longer they can sustain this sort of warfare. But yes, Tomahawks are not just a potentially useful tool for Ukraine to wage its asymmetrical warfare, as I said, but it's a useful negotiating tool for Donald Trump. He's sort of dangled it as the Damocles sword over Russia. But the question is whether Vladimir Putin was able to charm Trump again into sort of standing down. And he did this very cleverly right on the eve of the meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky. He may have once again stolen Zelensky's thunder.
Let's talk about that particularly right now, because we've seen such a hot-cold relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky throughout this entire war. I'm not quite sure where we are right now after these talks. Maybe you could help us there. But in terms of Vladimir Putin, he's watching this all unfold, and he's got something in Budapest to look forward to. Will these Tomahawks effectively, if they are provided to Ukraine, will that not result in scorched earth policy from Russia, or is it going to result in a negotiation and a quicker seat at the table for both Zelensky and Putin to meet?
Well, I mean, of course, this is by necessity a sort of speculation. What it may not do, I would just right off the bat express, severe skepticism that Donald Trump will provide these Tomahawks before this meeting, and that's why I think Vladimir Putin called him in the first place, is to sort of, cool that enthusiasm and once again to go on a charm offensive. And we saw, once again, he was effective. He talked about Melania Trump and what she's been, the diplomacy that she's engaged in personally with Putin regarding the kidnapped children, etc. He mentioned Donald Trump's prowess as a peacemaker, etc. So once again, we're seeing a repeat of the same. Putin is dragging out the time. I think that once again, he's being rewarded, in my opinion, unjustly, unfairly, with a meeting in a European capital of a country that is a member of NATO and the European Union. And also, don't forget the venue. Budapest was the venue over 30 years ago where America and Britain and Russia were all guarantors of Ukraine's security in return for its nuclear weapons. What a cruel irony.
The Budapest Memorandum very much etched in all of our memories, and now playing out, as you say, a cruel twist of irony. Peter Zalmayev, unfortunately, that's where we have to end it. As always, thank you so much for joining us on France 24.